And it's the last day of the week. Welcome to your most authoritative show on TV. It's The Pulse. We are coming to you live from our studios in Kukumlimli on your digital terrestrial TV because we're free to air on the STV channel 421 and Go TV channel 144. We are your home of independent, fearless and credible journalism. This afternoon, Mental Health Authority reveals that as many as 417 people have attempted suicide as of June 2021. This afternoon, there's help out there for anyone nursing suicidal thoughts as authorities make a strong case for decriminalization of suicide in the country. Also this afternoon, President Akufo-Addo pledges to leave a legacy of strengthening the country's governance system and building an accelerated economy in Ghana. We're live in the Volta region as the president starts his tour of the Volta region. Plus, all set for the first Habitat Fair mini clinic taking off tomorrow at the Achimota Retail Center. We have all you need for a comfortable and affordable home on display for you. We'll be going live to the Achimota Retail Center to get a sense of what will happen tomorrow. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. The Pulse is brought to you by Global Communities, Dignilu, Affordable Safe Sanitation. We're also live on YouTube and all our social media handles. Tweet at us with the hashtag The Pulse. My personal handle is at Denana Aisha.
Hello, I'm Doreen Nando. You can catch up with all the fun on the Cosmopolitan Mix and on all our shows via podcast. Just go to My Joy Online podcast and search for your favorite show and relive those moments all over again. Only on Joy 99.7 FM, radio for discerning listeners.
Super Hits Radio, Joy 99.7.
This afternoon, we begin on our roads because the National Road Safety Authority has directed 6 metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies to seize any acts of omissions that directly or indirectly permit the unlawful use of tricycles for fare-paying passengers services. The authority has, following that, threatened it will not hesitate to seek an enforcement order if they fail to carry out the required remedy within a month of the directive. This follows concerns of the increasing number of crashes associated with the commercial use of tricycles in some parts of the country. We will be having a conversation on this new directive. Before that, though, let's take a look at this story from the Ashanti region.
A total of 697 tricycles and motorbikes were involved in road crashes in the first half of 2021. 104 people died through the accidents, with 539 of them injured. The death toll forms 29.6% of fatalities recorded on the roads within the period. This informed the special operation by Ashanti Regional Security Council to deal with the incidents. Simon Osei-Mensah heads RECSEC.
If you go to most of our health facilities in the regions, most of the accidents being reported are caused by these 3 vehicles. As a result, Regional Security Council, we decided to take some measures and sanitize the system. They don't follow any transport regulations, so they drive along in the medians, they drive along the shoulders of the road and knocking people down, etc.
The Police Motor, Traffic and Transport Department has since stepped up efforts to deal with the fatalities by ensuring adherence to traffic regulations. Chief Superintendent Emmanuel Edubuahin explains the special assignment revealed majority of commercial riders, popularly known as pragia, operate without license, increasing the potential of accidents.
Any arrest has to end at the law court. So when you are arrested, what we do is that we give you opportunity to explain why we think you have offended the law and why you also think that you haven't offended the law. So we take your statement and we investigate. If we think that we have a case, then we proceed to court and then the court will decide. Because genuinely, some may have the licenses and they wish that you give them the opportunity to go and bring it. So once you are able to produce it, even though we can prosecute you for not producing your license at the time that we requested, however, we will give you the opportunity, once you say you have it, to produce it. If you are able to produce it, then that ends at the police station.
On the streets of Kumasi, many tricycles continue to flout road traffic regulations, most of them riding through wrong lanes. Some ignore the red lights and others overload passengers. Some commercial tricycle riders at Sawaba within the Askorimampong municipality say they are discouraged by the high cost of obtaining license. I think the operation will be beneficial. Some people are riding with fake license. Others flout the laws. So it is good for us to be brought to book. I don't have a license. I want to do one, but 600 cedis is too high. The Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authority has revealed many opt for premium service at a cost of 600 cedis, but the riders will have to attach some level of seriousness in acquiring the license since their daily bread depends on it. Many argue the tricycle business will have to be regularized to deal with the high incidence of flouting of road traffic regulations. For Joy News, Nanaya Ochima, Kumasi.
Let's have a conversation on this one. Kwame Kodo-Etuahene, he's head of regulation, inspection and compliance at the National Road Safety Authority. He joins us via Zoom. Mr. Etuahene, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. Mr. Etuahene, I want you to break it down for me. I want to understand what your concerns and demands are with regards to these tricycles.
Thanks so much. Good afternoon to your team and your viewers. I think our concerns are very clear. When you look at the law, it is the road traffic regulations 2180. It sets out what we can use the motorcycle and tricycle and what we come up with them. They are not services for searching purposes, and that is the law. And it is to a large extent because the condition of the vehicle, the way it was made, the body, work, its construction, does not support its use for commercial purposes. And the sides are open, contrary to the places of tactics. They don't have details in their life.
Can you reposition yourself for me? The line is a bit rough. We can't hear you properly.
So is it better?
Well, go ahead. Let's see.
Yeah. So our view is that once the law is very clear that we cannot use these vehicles for commercial purposes, it will be inappropriate to have metropolitan municipal assemblies try to rationalize the illegality. We have found that there are 6 municipalities that remain in the system or listed have either introduced a scheme which allows for them to issue some sort of a permit or take fees for the illegal conduct, or in some cases, they create terminals.
I think, Mr. Etuahene, if you can reposition yourself, or probably we should drop the call and call him back because it's not working. We'll try and get Mr. Etuahene. Mr. Etuahene, can you hear me? Maybe you should speak up a bit more. Let's see if it's working. All right, so Mr. Etuahene is with the National Road Safety Commission. He's talking about how our tricycles operate on our roads and which he says do not conform to the position of the law. And they are willing to crack the whip to ensure that the number of accidents on our roads by tricycles reduce. Do we have Mr. Etuahene back on the line? All right, we do not have him yet. So he's been talking about the position of the law. And indeed, if you look at some of the issues that they've raised, they talk about the law regulation 128 of the Road Traffic Regulations 2012, LI 2180, which prohibits tricycles for applying for fare-paying passengers. Mr. Tuahine, if you are back on the phone, I want you to go ahead with the point you were making.
Yes, Asha, so the point I was making was that is the law. The law forbids the use of these tricycles for commercial purposes. And in spite of that clear position of the law, we have some assemblies allowing their use. In some cases, they take fees or tolls from them. In other instances, they are providing terminals to facilitate the illegal responsibility, illegal duty. Given where we stand and the duty imposed upon us by law to take such steps that will help reduce these crashes, we cannot overlook these blatant disregard for the law. And it is in that spirit that the said directives were issued to the said municipal assembly.
So in this directive, how do you intend to address the situation?
Well, I think we've set out the issue quite clearly, that for those that are issuing permits and taking fees from these riders for unlawful purposes, they must desist. For those that are beginning to create terminals for them to allow for the illegality to fester, they must also desist, because ultimately they go to influence the numbers negatively. If you look at the structure of these vehicles, as it were, you would notice that they are unsafe. They have very open sides, very little or zero protection for occupants. They do not have seat belts for riders or passengers. And these are basic necessities that will go to protect the occupants. And as an institution that has responsibility to promote safety, institution which has a duty to ensure that accident numbers come down, we cannot overlook that. And we have every expectation that they will see reason in these directives and do the needful within the time frame that we have so advised.
What kind of engagement have you had with them? And have you also shared the statistics on our roads with regards to accidents caused by these tricycles with these MMDCAs?
Yes, we have consistently engaged them. That's part of what our regions do on a daily, on a regular basis. And the assemblies have transport departments. And you would assume that they should be very much on top of the law on these matters. In fact, it's just about 6 of them at present. We think that in spite of their knowledge of the law, for other reasons, they have the tendency to overlook it. But we also have a duty to point out these breaches to them. That's why we've given them sufficient time. I think 1 month is reasonable time to apprise themselves with the law, review the existing practices, and possibly take steps that will protect the generality of the public. We are not saying that the tricycles should not be used, but the law is very clear that they could be used for personal purposes or for delivery and courier services. But once you set out to use them for fair-paying purposes, it is unlawful. There's a reason for it, and the reason is what I've tried to explain, that when you look at specifications under our law for vehicles that are meant for public use, they ought to meet a certain minimum standard. Unfortunately, these tricycles do not come anywhere close to these conditions. And until we potentially get to a stage where the overall structural integrity, condition, and make construction of the vehicle would be looked at, we cannot overlook and go to sleep on our public duty without pointing these safety issues out to these offending institutions.
If this doesn't happen within the stipulated 1 month time, what will be your next action as an authority?
The mandate we have under Act 993, this is one, that we should issue compliance notices when we feel that there are certain conducts that put the public at high risk of a crash. The second is to engage the offending agencies. But ultimately, we have the opportunity to go to court to seek an enforcement order. So, worst case, if we do not get the sort of response that we expect, there's every likelihood that we'll head to court to get the court to make the appropriate orders to the assembly.
How about the importation of tricycles? How are you dealing with that?
Well, that's what the point we make, that the law does not forbid their importation. What the law does is to restrict their use. So we cannot say, for instance, that tricycles should not be imported into the country. No, because the law supports their use for delivery and courier services. So to the extent that someone intends to bring them in for courier and delivery services, that's fair and good. But once you begin to use it in ways that contradict the intent of the law, that's where it becomes problematic. So at present, the action we cannot extend the enforcement to their importation, because at that point, we are unable to tell the true intent of the importer, whether they intend to use them for private purposes or for delivery or courier services which are permitted. It is only when you try to circumvent the use as allowed by law that you come into issue. You notice that when you go to DVLA for registration, these tricycles are registered for personal or these delivery use. That's why their registration number plates, are not unique or are not like the ones that are displayed by commercial vehicles. So on the importation question, there's very little that could be done at present. But when they come in and you begin to use them for unlawful purposes, then we might have to take a second look at it and ensure that the right thing is done.
Mr. Chahine, I'm grateful for your time. He's Head of Regulation, Inspection and Compliance at the National Road Safety Authority. Now, the Ministry of Roads and Highways is asking Ghanaians to pay more in road tolls and property tax. This is part of government's quest to raise funds to finance the country's roads deficit. The ministry says this has become necessary as the road fund continues to grow lean as against the huge need in road infrastructure. Here's Deputy Roads Minister Stephen Jalula. The Deputy Roads Minister has also directed all contractors who have abandoned project sites due to delayed payment to return immediately or risk being sacked.
But it suggested we could work properly with the municipal assemblies to ensure that everyone who has a property in the country pays their property tax. And that alone could fix a lot of our roads. And what I know is that Ghana is not developing vertically. All our houses is horizontal. You go and buy your land and build self-contained there. You don't put up story buildings. And that means that at every point in time, there will be need for roads. If that happens, well, how do we fix the road? So we need to get different sources like property tax. If you put up a house, be prepared to pay taxes to the municipal assemblies. And from there, we'll be able to develop the roads for you.
Property tax, road tolls, all of those.
Yes, road tolls, it's a good idea. But ironically,
it's not my idea anyway.
It's a good idea, yes, I know. Somebody suggested it in the meeting, and I side with it. We're ridiculously, we pay the lowest toll in West Africa. We pay 50%, 50 pesos per saloon car, sedan. If you go elsewhere, they pay about close to 5 cedis. Okay, and if you want your road fixed and you don't want to pay the right tolls, how do we raise the money? Some other persons or group of people are thinking that instead of a few people paying the tolls and the money being used to service all the roads in the country, why don't we devise a means to be able to reach out to every road user? And if you say every road user, it could be the cyclist, the motorcyclist, even the person who walks on the road. So how do we reach to all of these people? It could be maybe a few pesos being charged on a liter of fuel, so that we'll be able to generate the needed funds to be able to fix all our roads for us. Of course, if they left site because of non-payment, and now the state has paid them money, it's incumbent on them to return to site and carry on with their works. But if they don't come, that means that they don't have the intention to work again. And so our procedure is to serve them with letters. First warning, second warning, and ultimately we terminate. And sometimes we have to prosecute them. Okay, so that is what I just reiterated, that all the contractors who are not on site, and some for non-performance, not because we owe them. Some of them we have paid them all their IPCs, but yeah, they will hide under the cloak of non-payment, and they will not do the work. But now, if they don't return to site, I think we can terminate their contracts.
Transport Minister Kweku Fore-Esiama has hinted the registration of heavy-duty vehicles will now be registered and tracked at our ports by the Driver Vehicle Licensing Authority. According to him, tracking will be operated by the DVLA itself without the involvement of any private entity. He made these statements at the just-ended inauguration of board members of the DVLA. Later in this bulletin, but the section of the Asafo interchange in Kumasi has turned into a death trap following theft of steel covering drains beneath the overhead. An average of 5 vehicles go into the ditch daily, injuring passengers and causing damage to the vehicles. Traders in the area fear for possible fatalities if the problem is not addressed. Nana Ojima has been following this for JoyNews.
Motorists tactfully managed to swerve open drainage in the middle of the underpass of the Asafo flyover. 6 similar holes are found on the 200-meter stretch. Some drivers who successfully maneuvered their way around share the discomfort.
The situation worsens when the place floods. It covers all the ditches. There is fear whenever I get here. The ditches can cause accidents.
These holes are created as a result of thefts of steel coverings of the drainage. The holes have turned death traps for people using the route. In our 20 minutes filming of the story, 3 cars fell into the ditches. Traders along the underpass intervened to rescue the situation. These holes are supposed to be covered by steel slabs. The slabs are removable to ensure easy desilting of the drains. Assemblyman for the area, Ernest Okai, says he has replaced the slabs on several occasions, but they are regularly stolen.
Listening to the concern of the drivers is a genuine concern that as they are paying for road levy, they also expect that the government also do its part to ensure that it makes the road more trouble for them. So, in fact, I put a metal slabs on it, but unfortunately they've been removed by thieves. So we are calling on the city authorities, as a matter of urgency, came in to help us to make the road more trouble for them.
Ashanti Regional Roads Engineer Francis Gambra says various means adopted to make theft of the slabs unattractive have yielded little results.
We fixed it as a couple, male, female, and they took the whole thing out. In fact, that is what we do, because we also have to leave it for inspection and maintenance. That's why you cannot seal it off permanently. But we may have to modify the design so that probably it may become very difficult for these people to take out these slabs. Yes, in fact, it's a very common phenomenon that we are having. A lot of the metal gratings that we are losing, which is making our roads unsafe and dangerous, as a result of theft of these things. I'm sure you've seen even social media showing some of these incidences of theft cases. So I believe that we all have to guard, because these are public assets, so we would all have to guard these things.
Meanwhile, a gap is fast developing along a section of the road. Mr. Gambra explains poor drainage in the area is to blame.
So obviously it's a problem with the drainage. layout here, so we'd have to redesign the drainage within the CBD here. Yeah. We expect that, I mean, this is the first time this is coming to my attention, so of course we need to go through procurement, but because it's emergency, within a matter of a week, I think we should be able to get a contractor come to start the works.
For Joy News, Nana Ochima reporting.
Back to our earlier story where Transport Minister Kweku Fure-Siama has hinted the registration of heavy-duty vehicles will now be registered and tracked at our ports by the DVLA. According to him, tracking will be operated by the DVLA itself without the involvement of any private entity. He made these statements at the just-ended inauguration of board members of the DVLA.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, government is also very much concerned about the indiscriminate use of earth-moving equipment at unauthorized mining areas. Government has therefore directed that the Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authority put in place and register all truck-moving equipment operating in the country. So the DVLA is going to establish or put up a facility at our ports, that the Tema Port and Tekrade Port, to make sure that all earth-moving equipment that enter the country is first and foremost registered and tracked. And I'm appealing, and I'm using this medium to appeal to the media. Please support them. They may make mistakes. The benefit that will accrue to us will be more than the mistakes that they will make. So when the time comes and people run to your various radio stations shouting, hey, DVLA is charging us, they say you should, yes, if you had money to go and buy an excavator to bring to the country, you must have money to pay for tracking. And the tracking is going to be operated by them. It's not going to be operated by any private entity because we want to control the system. So DVLA is going to take charge of that. They are doing it in conjunction with the Ministry of Local Government. And please, I'm appealing to the media. Cabinet has given directive to that effect. And they are going to execute this important function. It is their responsibility to do their quota to make sure that we protect our environment for future generations.
He's also calling on the DVLA to intensify education on road safety regulations, explaining that 90% of our road accidents are as a result of the recklessness of the drivers.
Western statistics show an alarming trend, which everybody is not happy about it. I have said it's not about the numbers. We can talk about 2,000 people have lost their life. Yes, it is true. But my philosophy is that if one person dies through an accident, and we could have prevented that accident, and we could not do it, then it's an indictment on all of us. It is not about the numbers. Yes, the numbers are important. But some of these road crashes are as a result of indiscipline on our part of road users, on the part of drivers. The statistics show that about 90% of these accidents could have been prevented if drivers had been a little bit diligent. So National Road Safety, I know that since 2017, you have intensified your activities. You have intensified your campaign more than any other years. Yes, the numbers are going up. Nobody is blaming you. Because controlling safety on our roads today, it is not only your responsibility. Your part is continue to educate people and bring out policies and programs. That is why His Excellency first so strongly that it was appropriate. And the need was that we need to change the mandate with which the authority was operating. The commission, we did not have enough mandate to undertake those important functions. That is why we have elevated you into authority with more enhanced powers to expect compliance from institutions.
In response, newly inaugurated board chairman of the DVLA, Frank Herbert Davis, promised to work diligently and called on the minister to consider an increment in the percentage of the road fund. He explains the percentage of the fund still stands at 15%, which is insufficient for the board.
I can assure the Honourable Minister, and by extension that goes also to his boss, the President, that we don't take this repose of confidence lightly. We will discharge our duties with diligence, forthrightness, integrity, and above all, fidelity to do the right things all the time. Mr. Minister, whilst commending you for the tremendous support you have given us over the years, I wish to make a humble plea. You have been in the forefront and in the gutters in course with us in our fight, also in quotes with the Ministry of Finance for the percentage share of revenue due to the DVLA. By His divine grace and favor, we now have 100% share of the Government of Ghana funds available to the DVLA. We now plead, most especially with you, Honorable Minister, to look into the road fund for us. Our percentage still stands at 15%.
President Akufo-Addo says he wants to leave a legacy of an enhanced democratic dispensation by strengthening the country's governance system. He also hopes to leave behind a legacy of building an accelerated economy in Ghana to avail opportunities and generate jobs for the citizenry. He was speaking on a local radio station, Voice of Volta, in Hohoi at the start of his tour of the Volta region. Our colleague Ivy Setoje, who is following the president for us, joins us with more on this. Ivy, apart from the water challenge in that area, what other requests did the chiefs table before the president when he met them?
So they asked the president to also speed up the construction of the Eastern Corridor Road, especially from Have Asikuma stretch, and also other developmental projects that they need. Most especially the Eastern Corridor Road, which according to the chief is about 60% complete. They need that to be completed as soon as possible, according to the chief.
So how has the president been responding to the demands, Ivy?
What the president said, and this his last term, he wants to make sure that the project or all issues raised by the chiefs are addressed as quickly as possible, and the project he promised them, the promises he made to them are fulfilled before he leaves office. So he assured them that they should just relax. All the projects he promised will be done before he exits office.
Ivy, what else is on the itinerary of the president? Where else will he be going from?
Yes, currently the president is in the North Dine district, where he is speaking with the chiefs, and then also after that he will address the public, that's the chiefs and the people of the North Dine. And then also from there he will go and commission some projects in the district, which is not far from where he is addressing the gathering at the residence of the Volta Regional President of the Regional House of Chiefs.
Ivy Setoje is a woman in the Volta region following the president for us. We can now listen to the president on his tour.
Political leaders it doesn't help to be constructing a campaign of lies. Every time you are being contradicted.
Let's move away from the Volta region, but stick with the NPP, because the General Secretary of the governing NPP, John Boydu, says 2020 flag bearer of the NDC, John Mahamed's resort to violent comment indicates his desperation to return to power. John Boydu, who described the comment as distasteful, says there's panic in the NDC camp due to the massive infrastructure development projects initiated by the Akufo-Addo government. In view of This John Buedo says Mr. Mahama has no alternative solutions in addressing the problems faced by Ghanaians and must not be given a chance to return to power. He's been addressing the media.
The NDC has failed to do so for 2 consecutive elections. On the contrary, the MPP can tell within 6 hours the results of the national elections because we are serious about governance. John Mahama lack of electoral preparedness, which he blames on everybody but himself, stems from his own admission of indecisiveness as a leader. His own observations about his lack of decisiveness in his famous autobiography reflects where he is now. This is the man who has been MP, deputy minister, vice president, president, and a losing presidential candidate 2 times on the trot. He is the greatest beneficiary of high-profile positions within the NDC, yet he still does not realize and appreciate that leadership is about service. He cannot understand that leadership is about vision. He does not know that leadership is about hope. We will not spend precious hours persuading him of the error of his ways. John Mahama's deeds and utterances will continue to expose the incompetence and desperation again and again. John Mahama's deeds and utterances will continue to expose him again and again. As the indecisive and visionless person he is carefully building, incompetent and desperate John Mahama should be given no space to come to the corridors of power. The best way forward for Ghana is the MPP way and has been the MPP way. Thank you very much. Wait, nobody is saying it's the same thing. This is do or die. And this statement is arising out of desperation. Seeing what His Excellency Nana-Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and his vice president are doing. Commissioning projects, completed projects all over the place, exhibiting leadership qualities in the management of COVID, raising the name and the image of the party and government very high, said that it is attracting direct investment all over. We are the first destination for any investment in West. I'm saying that we are the first destination in driving private sector investments into this country. So you can see clearly that it is desperation that is causing that. And I would have expected that, having been in power for 4 or 5 years, having been deputy minister before, by now you may have some alternatives, you understand, so that we can come back here, because that's what we are waiting for. We have slated as a party that every week, every Friday, we are going to engage the media. We will expect that he also come out with pragmatic, visionary programs and alternatives for us all to discuss, rather than wasting our time comparing do or die be die and all that. I think that it is unnecessary. It is a slip that he needs to accept and move on. Using grammar and semantics will not change the situation. I mean, that's on presidential and parliamentary. Code of conduct.
We're live on the JoyNews channel. Also, tweet at us with the hashtag The Pulse. We're also live on all our social media handles. Do stay tuned in. We're back in a jiffy.
Hello, my name is Evans Mensah, and you can relive all the fun and excitement on Top Story, Newsnight, and of course, Ghana Connect via podcast. All you need to do is to log on to my Joy Online/podcast. Search for your favorite show and relive the moment. Joy 99.7 FM, your radio for discerning listeners.
Joy 99.7.
Welcome back to The Pulse. Let's talk about the classroom project today. On that project, Jasehene of Breman Jamran and Akwesi Enin III says they're ready to mobilize themselves to construct the DA school with every resource or material that will be availed to the community. His assurance comes as donations begin to pour in support of the construction of the existing weak and deadly school block, which people's fear could collapse on them any day.
Years ago, almost everybody expected the government to do everything. Now, the demand on the government has increased. Years ago, expectation cannot work now. So the community is willing and ready to, as it were, provide communal labor to support any NGO, any philanthropist, any institution that will want to come and rebuild the school building for us.
Well, if you have not contributed to the classroom project yet, you can do that through the MTN Momo number 05930388832 Joy FM, or to the Access Bank account number 00901010549191. It's at the Castle Road branch. The branch code is 009 and the Swift code is ABNGGHAC. You may also reach us at our front desk for further inquiries on the number 0302 216540. The classroom project promoting social justice through philanthropy. And thanks in advance for being a part. Let's talk about health now, because this afternoon there's help out there for anyone nursing suicidal thoughts. That's according to the Mental Health Authority, following revelations that as many as 417 people have attempted suicide as of June 2021. There are others that are also not reported because of stigma and fear of community repercussions. Acting Head Health Promotions at the authority, Dr. Yao Amankwatha, says the situation is worrying and needs urgent intervention. The Mental Health Authority is this afternoon engaging some students in senior high schools in the country. We'll go live to the Accra Girls Senior High School where this engagement is happening. Before that, though, Head of Psychiatry Unit at the Komfanoche Teaching Hospital is making a strong case for decriminalization of suicide in the country. Dr. Ruth Owusu-Entry says arrest and prosecution of persons who attempt suicide do not deter and prevent such acts, but rather encourage the act. She says research conducted at the Kumasi Central Prisons revealed victims who attempted suicide are spending time at the prisons, trying several times to end their lives. Dr. Owusu-Entry wants the state to introduce suicide-friendly policies, including provision of psychosocial support to victims to deal with the menace. She has been speaking at the World Suicide Prevention Day organized by the Ashanti Regional Health Directorate.
For several crimes, not just for suicide attempt, for several crimes, we realized that those in the prisons, on the average, had attempted suicide 9 times. And that was used to buttress our point that it is high time to decriminalize suicide attempt. Because guess what? Those who are in suicide, of course, not just for suicide attempt, but for other reasons, have had the opportunity to even attempt whilst in suicide. So criminalizing the suicide attempt does not serve as a deterrent. You may as well put someone behind bars or imprison someone because of suicide attempt, and the person will still go on and want to end their life. Because research, several research around the world have proven that suicide attempts usually have underlying untreated medical conditions. And so why would you want to punish someone who is going through or battling a mental health problem or battling one trauma or the other? You will end up pushing the person to actually complete it. And once it is a criminal offense, it also prevents health workers and researchers to get accurate data that will inform policy change, because nobody will openly admit that I have attempted suicide because they know the consequences. And so we are unable to get accurate data to be able to inform policy change. And I think that if suicide attempt will be decriminalized, we would be able to send help to many people who are suffering in silence and bring these figures that are currently soaring in the country, especially in Ashanti region, to the barest minimum.
So, Doc, let's talk about the fact that in the Ashanti region, between January and June, the region has recorded 13 attempted suicides, 63 attempted suicide, and 13 successful committed suicide in the region. People or persons with suicidal thoughts, what kind of support is available for such people in the region?
Currently, we have just one specialist psychiatric unit in the region, which is located in Komfanochi Teaching Hospital. That is where I work as a psychiatrist. And I think that for a region as large as Komfanochi, Ashanti region, our unit is too small to offer all the help. We do our best. Until recently, we had just one clinical psychologist working in the department, but having sought for increased numbers in our clinical psychology staff, our CEO and the hospital management have been able to push and giving us more clinical psychologists to help. But there is still another problem of space. I quite recall when some time back, a patient came to our unit who was critically ill, was going through a lot of psychotic episode, needed admission, but all our 11 beds were fully occupied, and everybody on the bed was critically ill, needed admission. And so we had to let this patient go home with a caution to the relatives to keep an eye on her. The following day, this person jumped from the 3rd floor and killed himself. And imagine if we had had space for this person on the ward, they would have gotten the right kind of help, and we could have saved just his life. We could have saved his life. And so we have been pushing for an expansion of our unit. We currently serve the entire Middle Belt, Northern Belt, Northern region, Upper East, Upper West. Most people still come down to our unit for help. And we have said over and over again that 11 beds are simply inadequate to cater for the numbers we see. At the OPD alone, we see over 15,000 cases a year. And if just 15 of them can be admitted when they get to critical cases, then I'm not surprised at the soaring numbers of suicide we are seeing in the region.
Let's have a conversation about this phenomenon, and joining me via Zoom is Acting Head of Health Promotions at the Mental Health Authority, Dr. Yawa Mankwa, for this. Doc, I'm grateful that you joined us this afternoon. Let's start with the worrying statistics of 417 people having attempted suicide as of June 2021. Has this always been the case? I mean, compared to the periods, but more importantly, what has your research shown to be the major causal factor? Hello, Doc. All right, so let's try and fix her Zoom properly and have that conversation about the suicidal thoughts that people nest, because there's help out there for you this afternoon. That's according to the Mental Health Authority, because they say that as many as 417 people have attempted suicide as of June 2021. That's just half of the year. There are others that are also not reported because of stigma and fear of community repercussions. This afternoon, Dr. Yawa Mankwatha, who is in charge of promotions, is calling for the issue to be dealt with accordingly, and he joins me via Zoom this afternoon. All right, so Dr. Amankwa, if you can hear me, I'm asking you to tell me more about your research that is revealing that 417 people have attempted suicide already between January and July 2021. I'm asking you to tell me what the causal factors are per your research.
For your question, per our research, well, we have a management software system that we call that we use to collect this data, and according to our system, we have noticed that 417 people have attempted to die by suicide. You know, we've told the media several times that we are trying to decriminalize suicide, so we do not like to use the word suicide. We say die by suicide. Yes, back to your question. What are the underlying factors? The basic underlying factors are psychosocial factors and mental health factors. You know, the daily hustles of life, we go through several problems. It could be financial, it could be accommodation, it could be marital, it could be anything that could impact us seriously. Aside that, underlying mental health issues as a result of stress and all that is also a factor. So these two together makes it unbearable for somebody to deal with it, and for that person will decide that the only way out of this problem is to die by suicide. So these are underlying factors that people decide or intend to commit and die by suicide.
All right, so I'm aware that you're engaging some senior high school students on this matter. What's your objective?
Well, the objective is, the data we have is a lot of youth. I mean, the suicide that has been reported, even in the media, points that a lot of youth are dying by suicide. So we decided that, well, this year, let's get into where we can have an access to lots of them and talk to them. So, well, we can't be at every place at the same time. So we chose our female schools, and Accra Girls Senior High School happened to be the lucky one. So we are here today to provide that awareness program for them, as well as to provide psychological first aid for them. We came here with, in fact, this program was organized in collaboration with the Ghana Health Service and the Ghana Psychological Association. So we are here to provide that awareness for them, educating them about suicide, and as well as providing that psychological first aid for them, so that they'll be familiar with the warning signs, what they can do to help themselves and others, what the risk factors are, what protective factors that they need to, if somebody, they are able to determine or identify that somebody has intent of dying by suicide, what help they can provide. Through the education, we're able to tell them that there is help out there. There is a lot of professionals out there in our hospitals, in our district hospitals, who are more than ready to listen to stories and help them.
So why girls' schools? I mean, is it because there are more girls committing suicide than boys?
Well, you have answered the question. You have answered the question. We find that the girls are vulnerable. We find that the girls are vulnerable, and there are lots of them here, so we need to talk to them. I mean, even if it's boys' school, yes, we can go to an equally boys' school, but we find out that girls are vulnerable, so they are impacted by a whole lot of social issues, so we needed to talk to them. And this place, they happen. I mean, there is St. Mary's, St. Mary's Girls' School, and there is the other one, day school. But the Accra Girls happen to be the lucky one. We are not ending it here. We'll be going to all of them to engage and educate them.
Girls' schools. But the figure we are talking about, the 417, how many of those in there are girls and how many are boys or males or females?
Well, at this point, permit me, I cannot provide you with that breakdown. But we know that there are a lot of females in there. I cannot give you that specific details.
Okay. So what are some of the issues that are...
provide you with that specific details.
What are some of the issues that are coming up from your engagement with the students? What are they telling you?
Well, for what we did, we provided our awareness program and educated them about suicide, what the warning signs are. The clinical psychologists are providing them with the first aid. So if they are going to provide details about what is going on in their life, it will be with the psychologists. But I'm afraid the issue of confidentiality will not let them divulge that, even to me. So the real issues that are happening to them, I do not know. But they were interested very much in the science and the kind of help that is available there, which we give to them. And that's just through professionals and connecting with their communities, society, friends, and family.
So share with us the triggers, the early signs that you've been sharing with these students.
Fantastic question. Well, interestingly, research has shown that anybody who intends to die by suicide expressly says that they threaten to harm themselves or kill themselves. That is what they do. It's by expressing that they are basically, in other words, crying out for help. That
All right, so we're losing Dr. Amankwa there, but he definitely has to come back for us to have this very important conversation. And this, in fact, the part that matters to me the most, the triggers, the signs, the early warnings, so that someone can be of help to another who needs that help. Dr. Amankwa, if you're back, I want to hear about these signs. All right, so Dr. Amankwa will join us via phone because we definitely have to conclude this conversation. Dr. Amankwa, tell me more about the signs and the warnings on the wall, which we must read before this happens.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, loud and clear.
Very good. So like I did say earlier on, the person would directly tell you that I want to harm or kill myself. That is a common major sign that they provide. And like I did say, I don't know if I went off that at that time. It's a cry for help when they give that indication. Others would simply send a text message that I'm traveling, or take care of my family, take care of my children, take care of this for me. When indeed you realize that there is something wrong with that message, your instinct will tell you that there's something wrong with that message. Also, others would openly express hopelessness that they are tired of this world, they want to die. Others will go as far as making their own funeral arrangements. Others will start abusing alcohol and substances. So these are some of the signs.
Dr. Amankwa, don't go yet. If we see those signs, what do you recommend that we do? If you see a friend, a neighbor acting in that manner, what do you recommend that people close by do to prevent such occurrences?
You can do is to approach the person in an empathetic manner and ask the friend if they have intentions of dying.
Dr. Amankwa, you have to reposition yourself. There's so much noise from where we are reaching you from. If you can go to a more quiet place so we can really hear what you're telling us. So Dr. Amankwa has been talking about the triggers, and he says some of them will tell you bluntly in the face, I want to kill myself. Some will also resort to alcohol, smoking, they'll coil back into their shells and be by themselves. And all these, he says, are triggers that people want to really commit suicide. Earlier, he didn't want to share some of the things that make people do that, but he mentioned that if you look at the trend and the research, there are more females than males. The reason why they've decided to go to girls' schools to preach and explain to them why they should not take their lives. When he joins me again, we'll be talking about the strong case they're making for decriminalization of suicide in the country. They think this actually will help because if we have friendly policies and also including psychotherapies for people like this. This is what they think will end the suicide missions that people go through, or rather than criminalizing this, because they say that people go to the prisons and still continue with that thought of ending their lives. So we have Dr. Amankwa back. Dr. Amankwa, if you're back, let's go into how we can offer help to our neighbors if we find them in those situations. Dr. Amankwa, you were telling me about how we can offer help to people who find themselves in these situations. What can we do? What do you recommend that we do?
I think it's a straightforward question that we need to teach to this individual. For that individual to confirm that indeed they have to get consent. So we ask the question directly, without fear, non-judgmentally. Are you intending to kill yourself? Are you trying to kill yourself? In most cases, they respond to yes. That's yes. That confirms that the person has intention of doing that. And the next step is to bring in other professionals or family members.
All right, we're unable to hear Dr. Amankwa, even though we are having a very important conversation. We'll try and raise him back and continue with that conversation, because it's very essential that we curtail the number of people who want to commit suicide. I'll take a break on the pulse. When we return, there is more. Do stay tuned in.
Hi, this is Lexus Bill, host of Drive Time on Joy 99.7 FM. Listen, you don't have to worry if you miss Drive Time or Personality Profile. It's going to be live on our podcast page. Just log on to www.myjoyonline.com/podcast. You can listen to Drive Time, Personality Profile, and any other of your favorite shows on Joy FM on that page. You don't have to miss a show at all. Joy 99.7 FM, radio for discerning listeners.
Now to a very essential part of us, housing. The mini clinics for the EcoBank JoyNews Habitat Fair begins this weekend as we gear up for the main event in October. Let's hear from one of our sponsors, Elegant Homes, which hints at some jaw-dropping packages, including a free fitted kitchen among a 10% discount on sales. Dorothy Kwashi is Executive Director of Elegant.
In the space of just few years, real estate companies are racing behind time to provide affordable housing to meet this demand. Well, all this is happening in the scourge of COVID-19, which has ravaged economies and depleted funds. But how are they surviving, and how are they restructuring themselves to appeal to a burgeoning housing market? Today, we find ourselves at one of such companies doing the best they can to woo investors and prospective clients. Elegant Homes, they call themselves. And ahead of the JoyNews EcoBank Habitat Fair, I've come here to see for myself the houses available and to interact with Executive Director Dorothy Kwashi on all and everything housing and the reasons why you should be a part of this year's event. Hello, Dorothy.
Hello, Charles.
Finally, we got to meet.
Yes, good to see you. You're welcome to Elegant Homes.
Thank you very much. So I could see the buildings for myself, and I could see that this place is quite busy, picking up from COVID-19. But how has the pandemic been for you guys?
Very, very difficult.
Very difficult.
Very, very difficult, yes. It's not been easy. You know, almost every area has been affected.
Exactly.
But the real estate, I believe, has been greatly affected.
Thankfully, we have a vaccine, and it's helping with the easing of restrictions and businesses relinking. So now that we've had things back to normal, and thankfully once again we're having the JoyNews EcoBank Habitat Fair coming on board, where do we see Elegant Homes?
Well, we are trusting that participating this year will kind of revive us from COVID.
Okay.
So anybody who is looking forward to buy a property will not forget, but we want to visit elegant homes.
So Dorothy, you are very much rest assured that if I check out the homes that you have here, I'll be convinced to come buy elegant homes.
Sure, you will be. In fact, more than convinced. You know, there's this adage that agro besa if you are not. You get it. And o pese uhu senia o yiremre wa bomutia o shawasi. So wait, if you want to know how your wife will tend to when she grows old, you look at your mother-in-law and you can picture. So looking at the ambience, looking at what we have, the peaceful nature of the place, I can assure you, Charles, you will be overwhelmed with what we have.
So I will check out the houses with Dorothy. You can come along with us as we see everything that has to do with elegant homes and what they have to offer. Discounts, right?
Sure, 10% discount on our price. This is a COVID promo. Let me put it that way. We are all back from COVID,
exactly.
So 10% discount on our prices. In addition, you get a free video doorbell.
Great.
You get fitted kitchen.
Great.
A fitted kitchen.
But don't give out all the information yet, because we'll check out the houses and see the best thing. So please join us as we check out everything that Elegant Homes has to offer in this year's JoyNews Habitat Fair. Dorothy, let's go along.
All right.
Great.
So here you are. Yes.
This is fully furnished.
It is fully furnished. It's currently being used as a model.
A model?
Yes.
So this is a model?
A model home, a house. Yeah, it's a 3-bedroom detached and suites with 1 car garage and 1-bedroom boys' quarters.
Right. So we're currently in the hall?
Yes, we are in the living area.
Okay.
And then you have the dining right by you, well set up. Ready for dinner.
This is a family of 8, right?
Sure, this is a family of 8. 8 people can live in this house. It's big enough to accommodate everyone. Yes, and then you can see the light comes in 3 color shades. You can have the white and blue. You can have a moment. Okay, let me come in here.
So when was this completed?
Almond was completed, I think about 2 years ago.
2 years ago?
Yeah. So you can have the plain white, and then you can have the white and blue.
Okay, so you could change of the colors.
Exactly. As and when. Exactly.
So walk us through the categories of people that you are aiming for these kind of apartments. Because oftentimes people say things are expensive, but expensive is relative, right?
It is. It depends on what you are looking for in your home. People have different tastes. So we are looking at giving you the very best. A house you can live in without being boxed up. You have all the space. You have all the nice finishing. You have the high ceiling. As you can see, the ceilings are quite high for a single story. You have the central ceiling speakers that has been fixed. And you can see it's very, very gorgeous. I mean, having this in Ghana, it's a house you can live in and will never want to move out.
So in
there we'll have the Vistas Washroom.
That's the Vistas Washroom.
Yeah, so when you have your guests come in, this is where they can use without getting into the main house.
Okay.
And then here is a 1-car garage that can take an SUV.
Okay.
So when you drive in, it's a remote control garage. You can drive in and then you walk into your home. When it is raining, you don't need to step out. Once you enter, you can walk in, wash your hands, and then straight into your home.
That's quite ergonomical. So I think we can take a seat so you can walk us through, or you could also check us out.
Sure, we can look at the kitchen.
Okay.
This is the kitchen, a lovely kitchen. This is what we call a fitted kitchen. A fitted kitchen comes with a microwave, as you can see. This is the microwave, fitted already. You have the oven here. Then you
It
have,
all comes in the package?
yes.
Okay.
In fact, for Habitat Fair 2021, if you buy in from us, we'll put in the microwave, we'll put in the oven, you'll get the cooker hub. This is for gas. And then we recommend that your cylinders are put outside the house. You don't put them in. Exactly.
So
that's
all
what we
these
do.
come to the package for Habitat
For
Fair?
Habitat Fair, if you buy, you'll get the ceiling speakers, you'll get the fitted kitchen.
And the fridge as well?
The fridge is only for the model house.
Okay.
If you buy in a model house, then you get together.
The first of 4 clinics ahead of the big fair comes up this weekend at Achimota Retail Center. Be sure not to miss it. But let's talk more about what will happen there. And joining me in the studio is Ernest Ekufo. He's a sales executive here at the Multimedia Group Limited. Good to have you, Ernest.
Good to have you, Aisha.
So tomorrow, are we set to begin the mini clinic tomorrow and Sunday, right?
Yes, tomorrow and Sunday.
How prepared are we?
So we are very prepared at the Achimota Retail Center tomorrow. The fair starts at 8 a.m. and ends 8 p.m. on both days.
Okay.
All what we need to put in place for us to ensure that we have a successful event has been done. The place is booked. Setup will start this evening. So the clients will come in tomorrow early in the morning and have their setup done.
What should people expect during these 2-day events?
So what people should expect is that any challenge you have with housing, you come there and you would have solutions to them. Because we have it right from the acquisition of land to roofing. If it's about mortgaging, we have EcoBank available. There's also going to be cities and habitat. That's what we call the rent to own.
Okay.
So if you've heard about them, there's the opportunity for you to come over
and meet them.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
What do they do?
No, so for cities and habitat, they are looking at putting up properties where you get to be paying rent. Then at the end of a period, the property becomes yours.
Okay.
So it's just like the rent system that we know, but this time around, you pay rent, and at the end, the property
You own the property.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about the exhibitors, those who will be exhibiting tomorrow and Sunday for the participants. We've seen elegant homes. You talked about the habitat, cities and habitats.
Yes.
Who else are the exhibitors?
So for the other exhibitors, we have Renters Paradise. They also will be there tomorrow. They are looking at bringing people who would want to rent and those who are renting out their facilities together.
Okay.
So they are more or less like the agents we know. But then if you've been due by any agent, you come there, you have a trusted source in Renters Paradise.
Okay.
So they have properties and they will serve as a middleman to get you to also own that property that you've always been looking for. We also have Duraplast, who are also going to be part of what we'll be doing tomorrow.
Okay.
And many other, like STL. So if you are looking at security doors. Safety is very important. So if you are looking at doors, STL will be there available.
Okay.
So you can come there and get to speak to all.
And who are headline sponsors?
EcoBank, they were with us last year, and this year too, they are together with us. They are looking at their mortgage facilities. So anything you look at having a home, finance is a problem, come speak to EcoBank, and I'm sure they have packages that will be able to sort all the problems that you have.
I'm happy you talk about packages because that's really what people will be looking out for, the exciting offers, the mouth-watering packages that you talk about. Tell me more about that.
So in terms of the packages and that which is mouth-watering, I think I wouldn't want to let the cat out of the bag.
Okay.
Once you come tomorrow, you get to get a chance to gain into all those packages you are looking at, right from mortgaging, right to cities and habitat.
Okay.
You are looking at elegant homes, you are looking at Renters Paradise, you are looking at Duraplast. It's the whole things about housing. You're not just looking at one thing, you are looking at DBS in terms of roofing.
Okay.
And all of them are going to be available tomorrow. So right from the land, right to financing, right to roofing, doors, anything housing.
Even decoration, interior and everything.
Sure.
You would get it over there.
Get it over there.
Ernest, let's talk about the time. What time does it start? What time does it end?
So we are starting tomorrow. The fair itself starts tomorrow 8 a.m. and ends at 8 p.m.
Okay.
But what happens the time, most of the time, because of how exciting the packages are, even after 8 p.m., the stores are still engaged.
Okay.
But once you come between 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. tomorrow and Sunday, you would get to interact with all of them.
Okay.
But setup starts this evening. So we are looking at building stands to this evening, so that our exhibitors and sponsors will get to occupy them.
Okay.
So that tomorrow we can start.
This is the mini clinic, right?
Absolutely.
When is the main event also coming up?
The main event is coming up on the 27th of October to the 31st.
Okay, so this is a build-up to the main event.
And we'll be having 3 different build-up. This very one's at Achimota Mall.
Okay.
Next week, we get to go to the West Hills Mall.
Okay.
Then we'll wrap it up at the Junction Mall on the 2nd and 3rd of October.
Okay, so...
And all this is to whip up some excitement towards the main fair, which we'll be having on the 27th of
October. Definitely. Absolutely. Whichever part of the country you are or in Accra, you get to experience or have a feel of the JoyNews Habitat Fair. Ernest Akufo, thank you so much. He's the executive, marketing executive, right?
Absolutely.
With a multimedia group. You have no reason to miss tomorrow and Sunday. You need to go there. And you heard from him. He said if you want to have a feel of the mouth-watering packages awaiting you, you just have to drive or go there and see for yourself. So see you tomorrow and Sunday at the Achimota Event Center.
Retail Center.
All right. Now let's do more. Some employers who are looking to hire at the ongoing job fair organized by the YEA are worried about the quality of some of the graduates who have turned up for jobs. Now, the employers are disappointed. Many of the job seekers do not have the soft skills that they are looking for. Order has been restored at the venue, though, following yesterday's chaos, which nearly resulted in a stampede as thousands of people jostled for few job slots available.
The road in front of the conference center is busier than usual today, largely because of the number of young people using it. They are here to attend the job fair organized by the Youth Employment Authority, YEA.
They are all hoping to get a job because thousands of people are out here searching for a job. So we are all hoping for the best. At the end of the day, we hope everybody will get wherever he or she belongs to. So many years now, if I'm not lying, about 6 years now, I'm in the house. You know, it's not easy, but you are still managing. But as for today, we are all hoping for the best.
Harry Yao Adombo lost his job when the COVID-19 pandemic struck. A job, he says, was already underpaying him.
Look for a job. That's why I'm here. I now have a family of about 4 kids. Everybody depends on me. So you should know what really I'm going through. So it's only God. Because the 1,000 is my take home from the school. As I said, I do other things. Paying about 150 cedis for rent. My brother, the fact of the matter is that I've been trying to move out of this country, not today. It's rather unfortunate that if you go through my passport right now and see the kind of visas I have in my passport, you will be surprised. That has been my option all this while because I've seen some sort of unfairness in the system.
What we are supposed to do is to make sure that the youth of Ghana have jobs. And that is exactly what we are doing. We have seen thousands of people coming so far.
Now, like many of the young people here today, he's hoping to get one that pays better. The job fair will be running for the next 2 days, and the YEA is hoping to fill 3,000 job slots, which they say are available. But with the huge numbers that have trooped in here, it promises to be a big struggle to see those who will be lucky. Justice Beidou, JoyNews, Accra.
The unemployment situation in Ghana and in Africa is one that is, entrenching, and it's getting deeper and deeper. And the sooner that all stakeholders come onto the table for us to find an effective and sustainable solution, the better for our continent as a whole. To the employers here, I would like to keep it very simple. We would love to see the energy that you would bring into the room. The future that we have out there, our youths, are also indirectly all of us, our clients. And therefore, we're looking forward to you having a warm reception with them, sharing your various corporate cultures and what you do, and how they can be part of your cultures at your various institutions, what they can do, their credentials, character that they need to be able to apply when the opportunity presents itself. Your relationship between us, and when I say us, government, is to definitely, right now that we have this job center in place, to hopefully be able to take it to the next level, where we find ourselves on the table, the private sector, government, education, talking about how we can look at the involvement of the workplace.
JoyNews' Justice Vado was at the conference center here in Accra where the fair is happening and joins me now. Justice, what exactly are some of the skills that employers are complaining that job seekers lack versus what exactly do they want?
To do with soft skills, and when they say soft skills, they mean things like communication skills by some of the prospective people that, or job seekers that came to their desk. That they tell me that there are some of them who do not even know how to communicate to someone who they are going into an interview with. There are some of them that they say just don't have the right CV format or the CV the CVs to fit the jobs that they have on offer. A lot of the other people who also had such complaints are employers who are in the technical and vocational sectors. Some of them told me about the fact that many of the people who came to their desk are just not interested in technical jobs, and in the words of some of them, they were mainly interested in office jobs, which is basically jobs that they thought were easier to do. So those were the concerns from some of the employers, Aisha.
Those seeking for job agree that they indeed lack these skills.
So for the two of the employers that I spoke with actually told me that they had engaged some of these graduates and pointed out to them the areas where they thought they should work on to make themselves employable in the future. But there were also many of them who just really did not care and then move on. And for some of the employers, they just found it easier dealing with the very few who they thought were very serious and readily employable per the job descriptions.
So what exactly has the YEA done to ensure the chaos doesn't happen today? I mean, just like we saw yesterday.
So today there is a lot of organization in terms of arrangement of people. So yesterday, a lot more of the people who were interviewing were inside the conference center itself. And what they were doing was basically letting in 20 people at a time. And that was part of the reasons why there was the stampede that happened yesterday, because everybody wanted to get in at the same time, and that was a problem. So what they have done today is to spread doing inside the, also on the outside, and then provided tents and plastic chairs where the graduates and the job seekers would sit while they wait for their turn to be interviewed. I see also today that there's a lot more security. There's a lot more police visibility within the conference center. People, those that are directing traffic, and then those that are also showing job seekers that are coming into the conference center where they need to go in order that they are able to prevent the stampede that happened yesterday, Aisha.
Justice Vado is my colleague who's updating us on the job fair that started yesterday, organized by the YEA. We'll take a break on the Pulse. Remember to tweet us with the hashtag The Pulse, and we're also live on all our social media handles. When we return, is sports with Hans Mensah.
Hello, I'm Dori Nando. You can catch up with all the fun on the Cosmopolitan Mix and on all our shows via podcast. Just go to My Joy Online podcast and search for your favorite show and relive those moments all over again. Only on Joy 99.7 FM, radio for discerning listeners.
Super Hits Radio, Joy 99.7.
Hello there, Hans Mainsander here with the sports on the Pulse. Well, when C.K. Akano was appointed head coach of the Black Stars, he did state categorically that he was going to be selecting his players for the various national assignments from a pool of 40 players. So over the period that he's been in charge, C.K. Akano has called up 75 different players for the senior national team at various points. Now, my colleague Oreku Ampofo joins me with more on this particular one. He's been looking into the call-ups of C.K. Akano, and here to give us a rather interesting perspective. Oreku, I mean, he did mention that he was going to be calling up 40 players. The number, in terms of the different players that he's called throughout his tenure, stands at 75. Yeah. Who are these players?
Well, it's a wide range of players, but first off, before I actually get into the players, you want to look at, the premise that he set. That's the 40 that he said. He also categorically did state that it would take a lot to break into this 40 because the fact that you play for a Manchester United doesn't mean he's going to call you. And it means that you have to be really informed and you have to convince them. So it tells you that this 40 was supposed to have a big shield in terms of breaking in. And generally, it's been a tough year for football where you've seen COVID-19 and he's had a couple of injuries. But then again, that's why it wasn't 23 or 30. It was 40. So technically, if you are calling 23 each match day, that means you have 17 extra players in your pool that you can always rely on.
I mean, after giving, he's likely to miss about 5 players, or worst case scenario, probably 10.
Yeah. So even if you do go past your so-called 40, maybe 45, 50, but when you enter 75, what you're trying to tell us is that there's no real methodology.
So he's completely deviated from what he said he was going to be doing.
Yeah, right. And I think that has escaped a lot of people because of the performances. And just look at the breakdown.
And I'm seeing that on my screen. 75 players. There's been 7 different goalkeepers that he's called up. He's called up 25 different defenders. Am I getting that right?
Yeah.
25 different names in terms of defenders.
Yeah.
And 27 midfielders and 16 strikers. It's damning also because we are looking at a Black Star that is struggling to score goals.
Yeah, we are. And it just tells you that it's reached a point where we call you, we come and try you, you don't do well, and then we send you away. No team has ever been successful with that. And Hans, the striking part about these numbers is that out of these 75 players, you do have 31 of them who came in for one call-up and were never called again.
31 were called up just once.
Yes, just
once. So then it either means that he shredded that idea of the 40 players, or like I mentioned, he's just completely lost his way. Which one do you reckon we are looking at here?
It's difficult to weigh in because if you look at the 31, which we would be bringing you graphics of that match later in a piece on my drawing line, so you can check that out. But if you do look at the 31 players, they were never really given the opportunity when they came into the team. You look at someone like Joseph Ejay, you look at quite a number of the local players, and I think we do have a graphic on the local players that we can show.
If we have it, let's take a look at that one.
Yes.
So these are the local players who have been called up, and also the minutes that they've played under C.K. Akano, correct?
Yeah.
So in total, we are looking at 858 minutes for local players who have been called up, and that is what we see in the middle of that infographic there. But he's called up Razak Abaloa, who has played 360 minutes. We have Ismail Ganiyu of Kumasi Asante Kotoko, also played 197 minutes. And Fatah Mohammed of Accra Hatufuk just saw 90 minutes against South Africa. Christopher Nete of Asante Kotoko has seen 71 minutes of action. Kwame Poku has seen 62 minutes of action. Gladson Awako has seen 45 minutes of action. And he's also called up Richard Eric Oforientri, Richard Atta, Ibrahim Danlad, Philemon Bafo, Yusuf Mubarak, Samuel Abe Ashikwe, Joseph Ajay, Fatau Isahaku, Efriye Barnier, and Joseph Esso, who have seen no minutes for the Black Stars of Ghana and just 1 minute for Rashid Noti of Mediama Sporting Club. 858 minutes in total. The local player who has enjoyed the most minutes is Razak Abalora, but quite a number of local players there. I can't see the number, but I'm sure we are looking at about 10 of them.
In total?
Yeah, no, those who have seen 0 minutes.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
About 10 of them.
Yeah, that's about 10. And the total is 22 players.
Now, what does it say about the sort of confidence that he has in the local players?
It can be summarized in just one sentence. He trusts the players to call them, but not to start them. And then it brings the question that, is it really a cosmetic call? Is he just calling local players because, oh, I have to, I'm a local coach and it would make me look good? Or he actually thinks these players can play the back?
There is also the conversation about the lack of quality in in the local game. Yeah. Is this indicative of that assertion?
Well, it's strange because you look at someone like Christopher Nete who got 71 minutes. He had such a good game against Sudan in the first leg. He was dropped and never called again. The next time he went for right back in the league, he went for Fatau because Asafuk won the league. So
and Nete wasn't bad in the game that he featured in, by the way.
He was really good. He actually scored a very high rating and the Joy Sports rating as well.
Interesting. Let's look at the players who have had the most call-ups under Coach Sieki Akono. Richard Ofori has been called up 6 times by Akono. 5 times Emmanuel Lomote has been called up. So has Nicholas Opoku, Mubarak Wakasu, Andre Ayew, Jordan Ayew, Thomas Partey, Samuel Owusu, Razak Abalora, and Mohamed Kudus. These are the players who have been called up the most, and they've been called up 5 times. There will be a piece on my Joy Online.
Yeah.
What will it be looking at?
Well, it'll be more of a breakdown of some of the numbers, looking at the players who came in and then left, looking, the 31, you would see the full list of players who came in once, never really got a chance and left, really leaving you to question Sieki Akono that, why are you calling these guys then? Is it really, do you need to break your 40, squad pool just to bring in a player for 1 game and let them go? What really is the idea behind that? And it just gives you more perspective on this, as well as looking at the whole 75-man list of all the players and all that. So
that should be ready soon on my Joy Online.
Yeah.
We'll definitely check it out. And of course, if you follow us, Joy Sports GH on Twitter and the other social media handles, you get to read that one as well. There you have it. 75 different players have been called up by Coach Sieki Akono, despite his own declaration that he was going to be working with 40 players. We'll definitely be bringing you more in respect of this particular finding in subsequent bulletins and shows here on the JoyNews channel. But of course, you can read more sports at myjoyonline.com/sports. Thank you very much, Oreku Ampofo. My name is Hans Mensah, and many thanks for your time.
Hello, my name is Nathaniel Atta. You can catch up with all the fun and inspiration on the Joy Sports link here on Joy 99.7 FM, together with all other shows over and over again. It's very simple. All you need to do is go to myjoyonline.com/podcast and relive all of those fun moments over and over again. Joy 99.7 FM, your radio for discerning listeners.
Joy 99.7.
Thank God it's Friday and I'm really excited because today I get to loosen up a bit, get to have a good time, and that is why I'm also encouraging you that loosen up. You've worked too hard this whole week and it's time for you to relax and have a good weekend. My name is Doreen Aviu and the show is Let's Talk Showbiz. But today I get to hang out with one great musician from Zimbabwe. Just stay tuned. Well, if you're just joining me, this is Let's Talk Showbiz, and as I mentioned earlier, I am hanging out with a Zimbabwean artist. His name is Holly. Now, Holly is big in his country. Now, if you recall some time back, Episode went to Zimbabwe and did not want to come back, and it was because of Holly. Today, maybe I get to box him and find out more, or I get to talk more about his music and how best Ghana can always be family with Zimbabwe. Hello and welcome to Let's Talk Showbiz.
How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good and I'm glad to be here.
How are you enjoying Ghana?
It's beautiful.
Yeah?
The food is very beautiful.
Which food are you talking about?
Ghanaian jollof is the best jollof in the world.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
I thought maybe you'd have said Nigeria, but now that you're saying Ghana, I believe
No,
you.
the jollof from here is something.
You love it, eh?
Yeah. I love it.
And the people here, I'm sure you've met your episode already. Wow.
Yeah, I met the people.
You've met
Very
him.
nice people.
Oh, thank you so much. That's what we are known for. Anyway, the name is Holy. And of course, with us, when you talk about holy, means, you know, Christian and all that. So I'm just wondering, are you into gospel music? Is it rap? Is it Afro? What exactly do you do?
All right. I acknowledge that the name.
Now, with your name and the kind of music you do, was it based on experience or was it based on your environment? I mean, talking about girl child and maybe people going through something. Have you been through something like that? Have you had to go through something that you are like, oh, how do I manage it and all that?
All right. Majority of the things that I've had to go through that it probably influeed my lyrics are things that I've been seeing. Okay. You know, I've seen a lot of young women getting raped. I've seen a lot of young women going through gender-based violence. I've seen a lot of young women going to parties where they end up spiked and drugged and they're raped and everything like that. And that's really hurt me to a certain extent where I feel like I have to represent them.
Now, I know that you're in Ghana, but are you here in particular for a project or you're just here for holidays?
Oh, right now I'm on the way to the UK because I'm actually doing a tour right now.
Oh.
I released an album in April. The album is called Risky Life.
Okay.
So I've been touring, especially I was in South Africa. Now I'm here and I'm on the way to the UK.
Okay.
But on the way right now, I've taken advantage to be linking up with the episode, to be doing some music videos and to be recording some songs.
Wow, wow. Now, the album, as you said, do you have any Ghanaian artists on it?
No, I didn't have any Ghanaian artists because I didn't know any of them.
It's okay.
But now that I do, I'm very happy that I'm actually making these links and these connections.
Yeah.
I know that the next album we're going to have.
Wow, most definitely.
Yes.
Now, let's talk about your relationship with Episode. I mean, of course, we're all here. What's the relationship like?
All right, the relationship has been established by one of my friends. His name is Tivo. He's also a fellow rapper, and they liked him because of his good vibes and everything like that, and they received him well. So who would want to come back from
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Who doesn't want something good?
Right, yeah, the vibe.
Wow. And I'm sure, so whilst you're there, you guys got to work together, do music?
We didn't work together in Zim. We only started work together here in Ghana.
In Ghana.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So now that you are with Episode, working with him, I'm sure you've also seen some Ghanaian artists you've thought of maybe want to work with, and maybe those who are doing well aside Episode in Zimbabwe?
Yes, I have my visions and my dreams, and I respect a lot that is going on in this industry. But I will only tell you when it's ready.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah.
You know, usually people are quick to let us know who they want to work with and why they want to work with. So I respect that. And as you said, it's a dream, it's vision. So whatever comes at the right time, you tell me.
At the right
I
time.
hope you come back to Ghana very
Definitely.
soon.
I love this country.
You love this
Yeah,
country.
it's beautiful.
Please, have you met our ladies, or is the only one sitting in front of you?
I haven't been able to talk to any ladies, but I've been watching them.
You've been watching
I've been
them?
seeing.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Then I also noticed something about your accent.
Yeah.
It's quite different. Were you born there or you moved there?
I was born there.
You were born there?
Yeah.
And then probably moved out and came back?
No. I told myself. I told myself the other accent.
Wow.
Yeah. Everything that I know from the music production, even from the English and everything else, I had to go on YouTube and look for tutorials.
Wow.
Yes. So for me, it was about the vision and the agenda to become different.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting. A lot of artists who are not really from Ghana, who've come here to promote their songs and their albums, usually come have a media briefing and all that to introduce their songs to the media and all that. And I've been asking myself, Africa is big, but there are only some particular countries that everyone seems to go to. Ghana, Nigeria, South Africa, and maybe a few ones.
Those are probably the only three.
And why? Maybe you can give me a better understanding, because Ghana is not too big, we are like, yeah, we are many, but we are not too big. But what is it about Ghana that you all keep coming here to promote your music before you move to other countries?
Ghana is probably number one because of the influence.
Okay.
All right. Ghana is very influential. You guys have made it with the movies. You guys have some of the artists that are linking up with our role models, American artists and everything like that. So I think it's from a point of inspiration. That's the perspective that we use. Every time we're looking at Nigeria, we're looking at South Africa, we're looking at Ghana. We're looking at things that we also want to achieve. You know, I've been to Mozambique, I've been to Zambia, I've been everywhere else.
Okay.
And they talk about Ghana, they talk about Nigeria, and they talk about South Africa.
Okay.
You know, it's because we see something that we want to become from the people that have made it from here.
Wow, that's beautiful. That's good to hear. I want to know more about Zimbabwe. I want to know about everything. But coming October, we're all definitely going to be in London. There's an awards going on. It's a Ghanaian Music Awards UK, and I'm hoping that we'll see you there.
For a special
come and have a good time with Ghanaians.
We need to enjoy.
Yeah. Oh, Holly, it's been great having you. But of course, I'm sure there's something you would like to tell Ghanaians. Perhaps we don't know about ourselves. Yep.
Thank you so much for the love and the support. I want to tell you that I came here in Ghana, and then probably the whole population didn't even know who I am. But I am a very big representation of the country that I come from. And what I will go and tell the Zimbabweans is the perspective they will have about the people from here. All right. And even without knowing that I have that much influence in my country, the people were nice.
Thank you.
They were very well. So I'll go there and I'll tell them about the weather, I'll tell them about the food, and I'll tell them about the people. So continue being like that because it's beautiful.
Oh, thank you so much. And how can we reach you on social media?
On social media, my name is Holy 10 Music. On Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube, on Snapchat. Every platform, it's Holy 10 Music.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much. And we're looking forward to seeing you more often here in Ghana. Come here, let's have a good time. Let's work together, music-wise. And of course, let's see how we can put up some concerts here.
Definitely.
You're always
Definitely.
welcome.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Okay. Luigi Mclean. Okay. Fantastic singer. Where is he? Is around. Is he still in your team? Yes. Still? Yes. You seem not to be projecting him at all.
Oh, we're doing a few things behind the scenes. Now we're ready. And so we're about to like embark on a whole new journey with him again. So something is in fact it's set as we speak now. It was just like last night I was reviewing his previews of some of the projects we are ready to put out there. So yeah, I do understand you, but we're about to take off. And I'm thank you for bringing it up. At least I can ask that he passes through your show as well. I think there's more that even for me, and I part of it I'll take it, but then there were things that we needed to prep ready and then come out. So we don't, you know how that thing sometimes if you're not ready and you do the thing, it's like the last time I had like a really nice conversation with Don. We had you know, especially with the family ones, I'm like, Charlie, we'll be like, you see, say me, like me, I'm in this, so I understand how these things, you know. But then you punch like Obiba JK. Like now, punching the side. Sometimes it's a lot. And especially when you put all those things down and you realize, first of all, when the person says it and realizes it's not true, they never fix it. They just leave it there. So one time I was sharing with someone, we went somewhere to play a gig, and then when they typed the person's name, like the kind of stuff that came up, they were like, then they started giving excuses. Even me, it's happened to me before. There was an event like that. And then that time there were rumors of things of my family. And the people, based on some of these rumors, they started giving excuses. They didn't say no, but they didn't come back.
But have you listened to the likes of Lutrot on you before?
Who?
Lutrot.
Lutrot.
Yeah,
no, that's why I'm generalizing everything.
Sometimes he dig at you sometimes.
He says what?
Oh, you take a dig at you a couple of times.
Okay. Oh, no, okay.
My name is Doreen Abby. A very big thank you to you, Ike, and of course, Obed. Well, it's a Friday, and as I said, let's take it easy on ourselves. Let's have a good weekend. But you can also log on to myjoyonline.com, the entertainment page, for more of our stories. And also go on Joy Entertainment on Facebook, Twitter, and on Instagram. Get all the updates on everything we do here on Let's Talk Showbiz and on other platforms. Until then, have a great weekend.